First campsite.
This is a story about how one bold decision opened our world, how taking a risk brought us a life of adventure, and how that single choice changed our parenting journey. In 2020, we were working through a pandemic, taking turns working our shifts at the hospital and taking care of our 6-month-old baby.
Hey, pretty baby.
After 3 seasons of working nights during quarantine, we needed a change. A quick deep dive into the YouTube algorithm led me to the world of van life, and I was hooked. My tact in sharing the great news with Brian was a little off though, and he shot my plan down immediately. After a few weeks of sweet talk and not so subtle hints, Brian started sending me reels of converted campers for families. Incepted.
Oh my god. Hello?
Hi, Michelle.
We're about to buy a vehicle that we've never seen in person. Never been inside.
Okay, come on. We're doing this together.
Don't ever tell me I'm not an adventurous person.
With all the supply chain issues and the increasing demand for camper vans at the time, we ended up waiting 9 months for ours, until one beautiful day in May when we received this email. She was finally ready.
I'm not nervous. Are you nervous? I'm nervous.
How are the blind spots? It's pretty blinding.
A lot of them.
There's so many blind spots.
I'm literally half blind. Noted. Everything is blind.
First campsite.
Now, I'd be lying if I said that the rest of the trip was easy. Our camping skills were rusty, we had never even been in a camper van before this moment, and I definitely made some planning mistakes.
Find the camera.
First stop on our road trip, Moab, Utah. Arches National Park is one of the Mighty Five. It attracts 1.5 million visitors each year, which brings me to our first camping mistake, the one where we just wing it. Due to the sheer volume of people in national parks, you really can't just wing it during the peak seasons. Or so I learned on this trip, because despite the promise of excellent free camping and the intention of arriving early enough to get a spot, everything, of course, was already taken. After looping around a few times, we pulled off along the river for Maroon's dinner and eventually had just enough self-service to find a place to go. We ended up driving about 10 miles west of Moab to stay in this great spot for the night.
We're losing them.
I had found an iOverlander site that reviewers were excited about, but it led down a bumpy road.
Oh my god.
High five.
The next morning, we drove about 2.5 hours to Capitol Reef National Park. That night, I had found us another great free option right along a lake. Or so I thought.
Beautiful sight. Super buggy. So tonight's an inside night.
What's up, Van Squad? We had a beautiful spot last night, but it was a little too buggy to be outside. So we drove down the road a couple of miles and found this nice spot.
So we passed through Bryce National Park. Unfortunately, our timing was off for this one, and we only had time for lunch and a view. A few hours really isn't enough time to do Bryce justice, so we'll be coming back here one day. In the meantime, we left the park and drove about halfway to the next day's destination. The next morning, we had a quick drive to Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park. As we drove, I was looking for a campsite and ended up booking us a night at the Hurricane KOA. When we were done, we moved over to the primitive campsites along the lake.
Guess what, this spot's gonna be too primo.
Wow, that was scary.
Do we ask if they have any non-primitive spots?
They didn't online. Oh god, again? My heart's racing. This is primitive beach parking that we just found a definition for. 4x4 is the definition.
How's that?
Looks good. Does it feel flat?
Flatter than the other night.
We even saw 2 other vans that night who needed to be pulled out. Feeling exhilarated from our near miss, we appreciated our spot a little extra that night. In the morning, we showered at the campground and got ourselves ready for the long haul. We had an 8-hour drive that day as we headed north to California.
First mile in, we're good.
How many miles?
518 more to Paso Robles.
This was the night we parked at our first ever Harvest Host location. In the morning, we drove west to our final destination. From mountains to sea, we covered a lot of ground on this trip. We spent our last day here in Santa Cruz before heading home to San Francisco. After almost 4 years of owning the van, we've seen more than I ever imagined possible with 2 little kids. From month-long cross-country road trips to 1 or 2 night simple getaways, it's given us the confidence and the budget to expand our travel journey. In 2025, we take on our biggest travel year yet. From van trips to international travel, we can't wait to share it all. So please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, and meet me back here next week as we pack up the camper van and head out on our first trip of 2025.